Hey leaders, quick question. Do you really need another shiny new program to fix your campus? Yeah, I didn't think so. If you're tired of throwing money at every solution and hearing dogs in the background that bark a lot, that promises to save tier one, it's time to try something smarter. I've got a free 30-minute training replay where I show you how to give teachers what they actually need without buying another product or adding more staff or micromanaging the people you already have. In this training, you're going to learn why most new programs don't deliver the impact they promise, the real reason teachers keep asking for more, and how to solve it without spending a dime, and how to strengthen tier one instruction with what you already have on your campus. You're also going to get instant access to free resources and a sneak peek at strategies from my book, The Craft of Clarity. So go grab the free replay and resources at catchingupwithcasey.com/clarity over clutter, because better leadership shouldn't cost you another $50,000 and a $60,000 additional position that you didn't really need in the first place. Let's dive into today's conversation. Hey there, welcome to the Catching Up with Casey show. If you are tired of chasing buy-in, frustrated by teams who just can't seem to get on the same page, or over the constant struggle of holding people accountable without feeling like you're micromanaging, this is the show for you. I'm Casey Watts, team leadership expert and the host of this show. I specialize in clarity, collaboration, and character, and I help leaders just like you take teams from chaos to cohesion, from frustration to alignment, so teams can actually work together toward a common purpose instead of against each other as though they are functioning in different organizations. Whether you lead a single team or a team of teams, on this show, we talk about strategies that are going to help you create a culture where accountability and autonomy go hand in hand. Now, with all of that said, let's dive into today's conversation and learn how to lead clarity-driven teams. Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to the show, Samantha Hamilton. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. Me too. Super exciting.
Yeah, and today's episode is titled Brave on Purpose, which I love so much. And what we're going to be talking about is a lot of stuff that comes from the book that you have recently published, right?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Okay, and so just as we get started, let's go ahead and tell everybody they can find the book on Amazon today, yes?
Yes. Yeah. Amazon. I think
Perfect.
it's on Barnes and Noble now too. But yes, for sure, Amazon. Yes.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I can't wait to hear more about it. But before we get started, as per usual, we have to let our audience know who you are and the work that you do.
Yeah. So I'm Samantha Hamilton. I am lifelong leader. Like it or not, my family had to deal with that. But I really want to support people in, transforming from places of survival into places of thriving and places of doing it in purpose. So through leadership and consulting or coaching or anything I can do to try to support, hopefully through the book, help leaders and teams just build some sustainable systems and get those strong school cultures that are super important and create environments where everyone can thrive and want to stay and want to do the work. Because any leadership and role that you're in is a lot of work. So everything I do is kind of rooted in the belief that leadership should be about people and be purposeful in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere people are involved, there has to be purpose and intentionality.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we're going to talk more about that, and because I think there's some more to unpack there. But
Yeah.
let's first tell our audience something that's super relatable and human about you. That's just authentic.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's relatable, but I do have a lot of Christmas trees. Something that is people remind my Principal's Day stuff yesterday. Every kid drew Christmas trees. So I have 27 themed Christmas trees that I decorate at home.
What?
I know. It's I don't know if it's a sickness, hobby, you decide. But and I get really excited about planners and school supplies. I have since I was like 5, 6 years old. I really love it. And there's something, I don't know if it's right or wrong about that either, but There's just something good about fresh paper, pens that make me feel like I can accomplish anything, at least on that first sheet, and
Yeah.
really get a lot
Yeah.
done.
Do you find that you have a lot of empty journals or notebooks and stuff?
No, they all have a little bit of stuff in them. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of little things, but I do have a lot of them. There's no doubt about that. And
Yeah.
pens, um, everywhere. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah. There's something when I get a new pen and a new notepad or something out, I can accomplish the world for a hot minute.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
least for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about you, but when I go to it really can be anywhere, but usually it's like Walmart or Target
Yeah.
or I don't know, Hobby Lobby, not even really Hobby Lobby. They don't have a whole lot
No.
of journals, but I find myself going down the journal aisle and oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I love
Yeah.
them so much and I have no need whatsoever for these
No.
journals. I don't even
No.
I use them for like you said just a little bit, but it's like
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
few pages I've got some behind me that are just
Yeah.
like that.
I'm with
But
you. I'm with you.
yeah.
I've got a lot, but
Mhm.
just in case. I've got one
Just in
for
case.
every outfit if I need it.
Yeah. Today's journal is gonna be a pink. I love that. Okay, so we're talking about being brave on purpose, and what I like so much about this is that you're using two really powerful words together, and that's brave and purpose. We're doing it on purpose. So,
Mhm.
um, I want you to tell us about what led you to write the book Brave on Purpose.
Yeah, and that title changed too as I was writing the original title that I have. As I kept writing, I was like, oh no, that's not what this is really about. So the book really came. It was just born out of the real experiences that I've had. So many times people be like, you've got to tell people these stories because you can't make them up. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but really everybody has them. And so I think it was just through leading through literal and figurative storms and just really tremendous professional and personal challenges that I realized that leadership isn't about perfection.
Mhm.
Um, it's about, more being present and being resilient and choosing to lead anyway. What that's the on purpose part that you have to just be intentional about choosing to do that. And so I just wanted to share some, real things that I've done. And do I do them all the time? No, but have I used them? Yep. And some strategies to remind leaders that you're enough, even when it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, and that's so hard to wrap our brains around that sometimes,
Mhm.
especially when we are in the thick of the
Yes, ma'am.
challenges of school and school leadership and our community that's kind of relying on us. It feels
Hard.
very, very heavy. And so it
Yeah.
can be really hard to lead, to be brave on purpose. To be brave is a challenge in and of itself. To do it on
Yeah.
purpose is another level, and I think a lot of that has to do with leading with the heart, which I know you
Um,
talk a little bit about. So, on this show, we talk about building clarity driven teams, really creating clarity for people. Where
mhm.
does leading with heart and being brave on purpose fit into that?
Ooh. Okay. So I think, and for me, leading with the heart means like staying grounded in your values, being really true to who you are. When it feels yucky, it is yucky. And when you're asking people to do things that isn't what's right, I think that's what my thing leading with the heart is. And choosing your values and the humans over a lot of things when the work gets tough. But I think it's about like you're talking about the connection over control and purpose over perfection. So when leaders lead, when you see people leading with their heart, they create spaces that people feel that safety and the value, and they feel like that belonging, and that creates clarity. I think because there's that unity. So when you've got the clarity and you've got the foundation, that creates that clarity, and that's when change can happen. So I
Man, that
think that
is so fantastic. So fantastic. And you
yeah.
don't hear a whole lot of people talking about like using the words clarity and connection hand in hand.
Mm,
Because I think so
yeah.
often we think about clarity as like this accountability piece and it's communication and clear as kind. And
Mm.
I believe
Sure,
Brene
sure.
Brown's statement, clear as kind, but
Absolutely.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a fierce or hard conversation. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that we are holding people accountable and micromanaging. It can be that we're creating a community where connection is valued and important. And in
Yeah.
that, because they feel that trust and belonging, it's a whole lot easier to be clear.
And it doesn't have to be a surprise. I think that clarity also,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to, it's not a shocker. Like when you hire with clarity and when you're intentional about that and you hire that, like the clarity is kind of natural, because you are, it's not a surprise to people if you have that clear foundation. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when when there's not clarity in our organization, sometimes
Mm,
it can feel kind of chaotic. So what are, in your experience, what are some
yeah.
common sources of chaos that leaders often face? And how do you feel like they can combat that and create positive cultures instead?
So, I mean, you got to be out and about. You got to be able to know. So, I mean, I can walk into the hallway and be like, ooh, something's not right. And I don't have to talk to anybody. You can feel it. So, and that comes from the lack of clarity, so that chaos comes from something has been veered, whether it's true, typically it's not, but people create some truth when they don't have it. So, so I think it comes from lack of clarity, some decision making that it was reactive or something that has happened or that they fear has happened. And so I think you can counteract that by like bringing everybody back in. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's have a conversation. Let's make sure we're on the same page and communicate really consistently. I had a conversation yesterday with a teacher and I said, okay, listen, this is Sam talking and thinking, not deciding. So I need you to open up that part of your brain because I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm saying this is an idea that I'm throwing out. What are your thoughts? Because otherwise it's, oh my gosh, Sam said we're doing this. I'm like, no, 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 that's all we said, so but I think you can turn that chaos around really quick by seeing it as an opportunity to reinforce that mission and seeing it as an opportunity to model here's what I should have done and here's what we need to do to fix that. But that strong culture can really save those chaos moments too. They can, if you have a really strong culture, I think those people can do it for you.
Yeah. You said so many great things there. One of the things that I wrote down was people create their own truth when they don't have clarity, which is so good,
Yep.
and so
The absence
true.
of truth, they make up their
Um,
own.
yeah. And then also, just, I think I love how you're almost showing our listeners how when we've experienced chaos or we're in a situation where we're leading a school that feels a little bit chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little more simple than we give ourselves credit for to rectify that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the moment, it can just feel like I recently talked about how it's almost like opening that closet door to that closet that's just a hot mess, or like your garage or something. And you open it up and you look at it and you're like, today's the day I'm going to clean it out and organize. But then you look at it all and it's like, I don't know where to start. And this is overwhelming. So you close it and then you walk away and save it for another day.
Yeah.
And another day never comes until it's time to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got so many like junk drawers and things like that in my
Right.
house. But
Right.
to a point, sometimes I start thinking, well, is it really even going to matter if I clean it out, because it's just going to become the junk drawer again?
Ooh.
And then
Ooh, yeah.
sometimes I think what can happen is we open that closet door and we don't have a plan for the chaos that's in front of us, so we just kind of like shift piles from one place to another, but we're never really making any progress.
They just
Um,
get overwhelmed, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think what you're saying says to me we can take a step back and just simplify it by letting people know, hey, here's something that happened, or here's something I said, here's how it was interpreted, and here's what I meant instead. Or here's what's going on. This is what I know that it's causing for you and our culture. So here's what we're going to attempt to do. These are some ideas I have. So that's
Mm-hmm.
perfection, what you shared there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um,
true.
yeah, let's talk about strategies then.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming that you probably mentioned these in your book. So tell
Yeah.
us, based on the book, what are some strategies they can use?
Yeah. So in the I started thinking through like things that would be helpful. So there's these mirror moments. And then there's practical strategies in each chapter of things that you could do to apply some of those pieces. But really, they're just things I've either ran across or have tried. And I think, again, my goal is to bring joy to people. And I want people to love what they do, whatever they choose to do. If this is it, great. wonderful. If not, let me help you find something you do love, because I think that brings joy. And if we work with other humans, you've got to be in the right position. So my goal is to try to build joy. So I really think it's important to celebrate those small wins, but celebrate them big and celebrate them often, and usually some glitter. That's important. Um, got to have some sort of glitter involved,
Yeah.
um, always. So I think that's, I mean, just taking turns to be like, hey, the kindergarten teacher comes in and said, every kid took iReady and every kid grew. I'm like, yeah, let's celebrate that. That's big. Or every kid's here today. Great. I mean, just small things, but, and some of them you have to get really small, but either way, make sure those are big and everybody feels that that's important. Um, and then create those rhythms of gratitude and reflection, but you also have to model that. So build those into your systems. Each faculty meeting, each team meeting, each collaboration, give me some gratitude, give me some reflection, give me some gratitude, give me some reflection. Find the good, there is good, but it's easy to focus on the bad.
Yeah.
The shared leadership, giving people a voice, giving some ownership, I think is important. There's a real big difference between the original definition I had of servant leadership and shared leadership and what I have now. So giving people a voice and ownership, but also knowing where the line is important. But make joy, like I said, make joy your priority, not just a bonus. Like, oh, there was something joyful today, but like, no, where am I going to create that joy? Where am I going to build that joy? And if it's with kids, if it's with humans, if it's with adults, if it's with parents, whatever it is, find it and make sure you create it. And then just be real honest about the challenges and be real. I think that's one of the things, is stay rooted in that hope that, hey, it's okay, that it's normal for it to be messy, but let's find a way out. And you've got to dig your way out sometimes. But when you have all that culture building, it's so much easier to organize that closet, because sometimes it's done for you when you open it. You don't realize that people have taken care of a lot of that.
Oh my gosh, what a great analogy. Thank you for extending that. So good. I tell people sometimes when I'm working with my clients at schools, I really try, and I tell them before I get started, I'm like, listen, I really am not good at creating analogies and metaphors. It does not come naturally to me like it does to other people. And so I try too hard, and then it becomes like just awkward, doesn't make sense. So anyway,
that's how I am with weird phrases. Like, they don't make sense to me. Like the bowl in the china closet. I'm like, why would that cause a problem? Like, and they're like, no, it's not a bowl, it's a bowl. I'm like, why would a bowl be in the china like that? So I get you. I'm with you.
Yeah. So I'm stealing things from people. Every time I hear somebody say something like, can you write that down for me? So you better believe I'm going to be going back and listening to this episode again to like add on. So you've talked a lot about culture and the people in the school, and that it creates a lot of demand for leaders. So I'm curious about how you feel like leaders, or even how you yourself have prioritized well-being, but while also meeting those really challenging demands.
Yeah, it's tricky. That's definitely one of those things that, it's so much easier to do what you say than what you do. And it's so much easier to tell other people to do the things because it's important. But man, it's so hard to find that time. But putting your own oxygen mask on first, I think is important. And as I've gone through scenario and troubles and craziness year after year, that I realized they are modeling and mimicking me. And I was like, if our demeanor and our building is being successful based on my level of sanity, that's dangerous. That's frightening on a good day, right? So when I am struggling, when I'm exhausted, when I'm not the best version of me, boy, I see it. And I'm like, I need a minute. Like, let me take a minute and either, it doesn't have to be big. I'm gonna take a walk around the building. I'm gonna go get a drink of water. I'm gonna go, it doesn't have to be take a week off. But if you need it, you need it, And so for me, God has provided those, like, I just as far as I could go. And then, like the whole right side of my body started going numb and I couldn't function. And I was like, okay, all right, I see you. Like, I'm going to have to take a minute, because I couldn't work. I was trying to voice, type, and text, and this is ridiculous. So sometimes your brain has to relax. And I think that's when the clarity comes, is when you take a minute to do, like, oh, that problem's not near as big once you just take a second. And so I think that's the lesson that I have definitely learned, is building in that space, but using that as an opportunity for clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think about sometimes when I wake up or I'm thinking about something that's happened, or my brain sparks an idea that I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to do XYZ.
Yeah.
And typically it requires me to send an email to someone, like I need to email these people about this, and we need,
Right.
like all
Right.
of those things start to pile up in my mind. And I have to really work hard to tell myself it does not have to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
This can
Mm-hmm.
wait, and it needs to wait until I'm able to successfully and also logically process
Yeah.
what I'm thinking right now. Because sometimes what I'm thinking right now is probably not the best action to take
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's in a reactive moment. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
I I think if leaders can hone the habit of even letting their people know, listen, sometimes throughout this year, I'm going to have to push pause and take a quick break so I can
Yeah.
just process things. They will
Yeah.
respect that so much. And like you
Yeah.
said, you are the model. You want people to replicate those kinds of behaviors. And then I think it's also important to ask people to hold you accountable to that.
Yeah, and the other thing I had to really work on, and this is a definite weakness of me as a human, I think, but that when, I would found myself so frustrated when teachers wouldn't be gone or not be there, not be at school. And so I had to really enforce that myself too. Like, you need a day. I'd rather you be 100% for the kids than be 50% because that creates more trouble for me too as principal,
Yep.
So I need you to be 100% you. And if you need to take that minute to do it, yes. And so that has been a change of mindset for me too, is making sure they take that time and building that in, like a gratitude session. There's so much good for your brain on that, and making sure that I use what I know with
Yeah.
them. And I think that creates that safety and trust too.
For
That we can be
sure.
people. We can be people
Yeah.
and professionals.
We can. Yes. Yes. Let's allow ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
I want to know, as we start to kind of wrap up today,
Yeah.
the some of the key takeaways that you would hope readers take from your book.
Mm. So I think people need to know that leadership comes from inside you, not outside you. And I think everybody has, there's several books that have come out recently about leading from where you are and leading from the position that you're in. And I think that's something I'm passionate about. Is somebody did that to me, invested me, and helped me find that leadership that was inside me. And I think that is what has motivated me to continue to do that for other people. It doesn't look the same, and it shouldn't. We're all different and we all have different. So I think finding that leadership inside you, whether that's home, school, classroom, office, wherever it is, use that and be proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that purpose and people must be foundation, not compliance and checklists, because they mean nothing. And I think there's nothing to get you on a faster track to burn out than having a checklist and being told what's right and what's wrong, when you know already what's right and what's wrong. Um, but resilient, and then I think resilience is a big one, and grit. That's something that I'm stubborn for sure, but resilient and showing that grit through those brave choices that may not
Yeah.
everybody's doing. That those decisions that you make, that you're on the edge of everybody else, but it's right, and you really can take that and run with it. That's leadership, in my opinion, and that joy has to be a strategy, not an afterthought. You've got to use that every day and find the good. It's life's too short not to love what you do, so find a way to love
Mm-hmm.
it every day.
Yeah.
Something
Yep.
about it. Something. Yeah.
Something about it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so my last question for you. Let's talk about really practically what would be a piece of advice you would give to a leader who wants to create some vision driven teams who
Mm.
are driven by clarity.
Hmm. People first, paper second. That's something that's really, and that is, and sometimes what I have learned is that the second doesn't have to come. Sometimes when you put people first, all the other things can work themselves out because they don't need you to solve every problem. You empower them, you build them up, you do things, and sometimes they answer their own emails, sometimes they answer their own questions, or they do it for each other. And that's powerful when the building can maintain, just like, when my classroom as a teacher could run itself and the subs were like, oh, I like this classroom, I want my building to be the same way. I want it to
Yeah.
be able to maintain with or without me, but they know what's right and what's wrong and what's okay and what's not, and what's tight and loose. But I think if people know where you're going and they feel a part of it, man, it's unstoppable. But you got to put them
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Yep. I can't say it any better, so I'm not even going to try to add to that. So Samantha, tell us where our listeners can find you and the book, even though we already mentioned that.
Yeah. The book's on Amazon and on some other social media places, but I know Amazon's where most people are getting it, which is wonderful. Of course, all social media, I'm just Samantha Hamilton on Facebook, and same thing with Instagram and LinkedIn. And definitely loving to connect as much as we can, social media, and from so many leaders. Like I'm learning every day, and I'm so thankful for that. And so love to connecting with people and hearing their stories and their ways they're leading with heart, and they're showing that bravery, because it's something you have to do every day.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Oh my
show
gosh, thank you.
today. Listeners, we would love to hear from you in the comments. And remember, you can always go to the show notes to get links to where Samantha is and her book. Plus, there are some additional resources in the show notes that you can always access. So be sure to look at those. All right, Samantha, have a great one.
Thank you too. I appreciate your work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, listeners, I've got another podcast that you might want to check out. If you're looking for practical strategies to strengthen collaboration in your school or organization, then you're going to love the podcast Building a Culture of Collaboration with Curtis and Lorna Houston. Every episode features insightful conversations with education leaders, exploring real-world approaches to teamwork, leadership, and building a thriving culture. So, whether you're a teacher, administrator, or leadership enthusiast, you're going to walk away with ideas you can use right away. Hey there, thanks for joining this episode. I would love for you to do me 3 solid favors before you head out. Number 1, subscribe to this show. I've got a lot of great guests and content coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Number 2, share this show. Share it with your like-minded colleagues and friends who want to learn how to lead clarity-driven teams. And finally, connect with me on all the social media platforms. You can find me at Catch Up with Casey on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Until next time, go off and create teams that leave people feeling inspired, empowered, and eager for more each day.